Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast. This Week in America. Kebeh Sando-Acquah has what many might call a happy disposition. She carries an optimistic attitude and she sees the good in all the people she meets. Her life, though, has been anything but easy. In her memoir, UnQuenchable, she shares her story, telling how she expresses happiness in her life because her journey has brought her to a place of gratefulness. This memoir chronicles her life, sharing how she was conceived during the Second Liberian Civil War in Africa, born to a malnourished teenage girl, and struggled with poverty and mental illness. She experienced a life filled with relatable turmoil, obstacles, and divine connections, and what many people in this world are prone to experience. A native of Liberia, West Africa, Kebeh was raised in the United States. Always had a lifelong fascination for empowering others through her personal experience, clinical background, and relatable love for God that shines through her writing. She's the founder of a nonprofit geared towards increasing education and mentorship in the third world countries. A loving wife, mother, therapist, and social worker. Kebeh Sando-Acquah, author of UnQuenchable, is our guest on This Week in America. Kebeh, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Rick, and thank you, This is America team, for this opportunity today.
Well, it's a very important message, and what a great story that you share in the vulnerability and being willing to help other people in the book UnQuenchable. Let's start with the inspiration. Why did you decide to take your story and write it? It had to be painful at times, I'm sure, to write this and to share it with other people. What was the inspiration for the book?
Thank you for that question, Rick. First, I never in a million years thought I would have been a published author. So honestly, I really thank God for this opportunity. I believe that it was important to write this book in order to identify my purpose and encourage others to identify the importance of their purpose once they recognize their source and how unquenchable we all really are. So this book was inspired by the need to be healed, strengthened, forgive and be forgiving, and recognize who I am, all while also acknowledging that once it was written, the work of encouraging others in this healing process will begin, because I believe we live not only for ourselves, but the purpose of reaching out to others as well. So this was the inspiration behind this book.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. I touched on it briefly and what you went through in your early years. A lot of people would say that's enough. There's no way that I can survive this. You not only survived, you are thriving through everything and using these experiences to help others. Give me a little bit of more information about your background and who you are today.
Yes, so I was born in West Africa, Liberia. I am... during the Liberian Civil War, I came here in 2001 as a refugee, because that was the time where the war was coming to an end. It ended in 2003, and I left my mother behind, and then I came with other family members. But with life and as life has it, we all go through different situations, and that's what this story is mostly about. So this question is very important to me because I believe in seeing myself in others and others seeing themselves in me, that we are similar as we are all created by the same God. So with that said, I'm an everyday normal person now. I'm a wife, a mother. I work a normal 9-to-5 job. I do love to sing, and I'm engaged in traveling, the arts of traveling. I'm surrounded by youth and kids every day of my life at church and in the community. And I love writing. I love writing children's books, nonfiction, especially when I'm led to write. But all in all, because of my life story and the purpose of my life story, I truly believe, with that question being asked, that my identity is that I am a child of the Almighty God.
It's amazing what you went through. And again, maybe different degrees, but all of us go through difficulties, and some of us can bounce back. Others have difficulty, and you share your story to help everybody bounce back and give them the motivation to do that. Our guest on the program is Kebeh Sando-Acquah, and I'm going to spell that, and I'll give you her website as well. All of this, by the way, on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Kebeh is Kebeh, Sando, Sando, Acquah, Acquah. Her website, very simple, KebehAcquahBooks.com. Got those links on our website, book available at Amazon, all of the usual places. The title is UnQuenchable. Tell me about the cover of the book that really grabs your attention. What went into the design of the cover?
This is actually a good question, because this was the second cover. So when you pick up this book, the cover immediately gives away what the book essence is. For example, despite the darkness surrounding you, so the key is the person in the middle, and we can all identify with that person because we are all human beings. So, yes. And so despite the darkness surrounding you in the world, once you know your source, there's light, river of living waters within, some form of spirituality, and a fire that is unquenchable. And that's all depicted in the cover. So the reader who sees this book and still chooses to read it after viewing the cover is engaging in a life-changing choice. So some may have other names for it. I will call it an immediate act of faith and a yearn to receive something they've been looking for and they need. So I didn't want the cover to entice. The cover was meant to give the reader an opportunity to make a choice. So the cover speaks volume, because once they pick up this cover, they are making a choice.
And this book is available wherever books are sold. We've got the link for Amazon on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Kebeh's website has information there, and you can order the book there as well as get information. Give me a little bit of background on what you hope the main messages are that you relate in UnQuenchable. What do you hope the takeaway is for the reader, and what powers, what themes you address that will help them turn their lives around just like you did?
So UnQuenchable means not able to be quenched or shut off, or not able to be discouraged. And in this book, and I believe, so water and fire, stay with me here, please. That's going to be, so water and fire have sources. So in order to shut a waterfall, for example, from flowing, once you find the source, you can shut it. So in the same way as fire has a source, so in order to stop a fire from burning up, the water, the source of that fire, but water can dry up eventually. So if the source is not running, the dryness can still be recovered once you run the source again. Stay with me here. So,
I'm with you.
Okay, so fire in itself, once it is let loose to burn, recovering to its initial state cannot be revived. In the same thought, once you're unquenchable, the title as well as the character in the book was able to go through all these turmoils in her life because she had identified what made her to not be quenched or discouraged again. So the burning bush part came from a dream that was given to me around 2 a.m. in the morning about Moses and the burning bush in Exodus, where the bush burned but could not be quenched. I'm hoping that the theme of this is for people to be able to relate, first identifying their source, that there is a source, and once they find that source and identify it, that because it's a true story, that they are not alone. Because it's a true story, that the challenges that they go through, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, you can find solace and peace in being unquenchable through this source.
When you were writing the book, what impact did it have on you? I understand this is your life story, but I'm sure as you're going back, you're sort of reassessing, you're reliving all of this. What impact, was there an impact it had on you as you were writing UnQuenchable?
So I learned once I identified my source that I could do all things. I had a lot of things to heal from, and I believe through this writing that I got to a state where I believed that I deserved this healing. So the book, after publishing it, it felt like a weight was lifted off my entire being, and I was able to thrive into this woman that I am today. I couldn't have honestly imagined becoming this woman that I am today without this healing of knowing my source. And I went through all of these stages of forgiveness, of suicidal thoughts, of depression, of just running away and breaking away from God as well, and just finally agreeing to be aligned with my true purpose in this world, and agreeing that my story is important to others, and my story is important to allow this world to go around, that I'm an important factor and others are important. So through this writing, I learned to trust, I learned to love myself and others. I just learned it all. I learned to be unquenchable, really.
Well, and that's an easy title to remember. It's just the one word, Unquenchable. The book is available, Amazon, the usual places. Kebeh Sando-Acquah is the author, and I'll give you all of that as we go through the conversation. A number of quotes that are quite remarkable and really impactful as you're reading the book. I love this one here. I victimized myself as depressed, lonely, and a nobody. Those words took root in my mind until I decided one day to uproot those planted roots. For many people, they start believing it. They think it for so long, they believe it. You were able to change that. How difficult a process is that, to uproot and to plant something else there more positive?
It is very difficult. And what makes it more difficult is if you are going through it alone, and if you are going through it putting your trust in things that will wither away. I went through that process because I felt like it was needed to go through the difficulty. It's almost like when you're in a fire and the fire is burning everything away. And until it finally has that last thing that remains, and then that withers away too. But what happens with going through this process of finding, or not in this book, I say recognizing who you are, and recognizing that all things will eventually
yes,
find its course.
Well, I know exactly what you're saying and what you went through to get to this particular level. Kebeh Sando-Acquah is our guest on the program. The book is Unquenchable. You will find it wherever books are sold, and we'll have this information available. You talked about yourself being happy on the outside, slowly dying on the inside, and I mentioned that people would see you and think you had this happy disposition, and you do. But it took a while to get to that level. As a therapist, a social worker, a mentor, are there a lot of people out there like that are happy on the outside, but slowly dying on the inside, that just don't show the hurt they're going through?
Yes, there is a lot of people that I've been a therapist and a social worker. Yes, there is. And I was one of them. And because I got my healing process, it's been easier to identify how to help people that are happy on the inside and happy on the outside and dying on the inside, because this is a fallen world, Rick, and we are prone to pretend. We want to make others happy and want relationship, because that's what the world runs on, relationships, right? So yes. we try so hard to do things to be able to make these relationships work. But then we lose our relationship with ourselves. So there are a lot of other people going through similar stories where they find themselves pretending or being happy or smiling, but yet inside they're dying. And I believe that this book, because of all of these chapters and the names of them, even by you just looking at the content, you will be able to see that this is a real life. This is a real life story, and it identifies with everyone. So if someone reads this book and picks it up, I truly believe that they will be able to see that being happy on the outside and dying on the inside is something that needs healing. So you can then be happy on the inside and then happy on the outside because you have found your true identity in your true source.
Well, it's a true story of true experiences, a life filled with relatable turmoil, obstacles, divine connections. The book is Unquenchable. How difficult was it to make that final determination to publish the book? You were thinking about it. You started on the book. Publishing is something else. That's sort of the final. Once you do that, it's out there for everybody to see. What was the inspiration for finally publishing Unquenchable?
Thank you for that question. So, purpose. That was the inspiration, purpose. I live for not only my purpose on this earth, but for the purpose of others who need to know about the how. So if I have a medication that heals cancer, I want to be the one to give that medicine out to others that are going through a cancerous life.
Yes.
And that they are not alone in this fallen world. So for sure, straight to the point, purpose was what inspired me to publish this book and to help others find their purpose and identify it and heal.
The book is Unquenchable, The Burning Bush Within. Kebeh Sando-Acquah is the author, our guest on the program. A few minutes left in the program. The time is going by too quickly. I would recommend getting information on the book. And you order it as well. KebehSando-Acquah.com is her website. All of this on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Is there a favorite part of the book that you like? You feel you've really reached out and touched people?
Yes. I love all of the parts of the book, but the chapter on forgiveness and the chapter called For It All. So forgiveness, I truly believe is needed. Simply said, it's needed. It's needed to forgive yourself. It's needed to forgive others. This chapter specifically was based on forgiving my father because I grew up without him, and it was a lot of things surrounding just needing his love. And this was way before I even identified that my love is in the true Father God. But For It All is my favorite because this chapter was the hardest to write, as it was the most exposure and vulnerable piece where those close to me thought I was this innocent Holy Mary person. But turns out I was struggling with saying no and seeking for love in the wrong places. And I almost didn't include this chapter in this book because it would have exposed me. It would expose me for my weakness, my vulnerabilities. That's why I really love this book, because it was freeing. And in turn, that became my favorite chapter because it was so healing and freeing.
Well, and then people read that and they're like, yeah, I know exactly what she's saying, and I've gone through that, and I've been reluctant possibly to even face that. And because of your courage and vulnerability in writing it in Unquenchable, it is helping other people. What's your hope for the book? What do you hope the main takeaway is as people read Unquenchable?
My hope is for this book is already happening day by day, to be used for the kingdom of God, to spread the good news that a life is precious to God in every story. Your story matters. This book purpose is and will be carried to heal, to help others see that they are unquenchable. Eventually, it will be on the big screen as a movie, so that many will have the opportunity to see the written story come to life. So as many are living, I feel many are living a similar story, whether you're at the beginning of the story of just identity crisis in some way, or you're at the end of this book of knowing your impeccability and your the power that is within you.
You didn't have a book like UnQuenchable to get you through these periods where you had lost hope and you weren't sure how you were going to face life. You meant contemplation of suicide earlier in the conversation. This is really an important book. How does this make you feel your book is out there helping people, knowing that you didn't have one and you had to go through all of this on your own? How important is it, how important does it make you feel? How grateful do you feel that you're able to write this and impact so many other people?
I am so, so grateful that, who am I? Honestly, I ask myself all the time, who am I really? God chose me, really, a refugee from West Africa, Liberia. God chose me. I'm dust from the earth, and just to be able to have this book help someone when I needed it. The only book that I had was a little red Bible, and to be able to encourage others through this writing, through this written word that will last forever, where they can go back and forth to it, is honestly, it's a privilege, it's an honor, and I'm so grateful to be chosen. I actually really feel so much privileged that I get this opportunity to be used and unapologetically used by the Most High to share this so that it can encourage others and so that others don't have to go through suicidal, others don't have to go through unforgiveness, others don't have to go through all of these things that I went through, molestation, all of these things. And even when they are going through it, they can see that there is truly, I know people, we hear this a lot, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There is truly a light in them. It is not at the end of the tunnel, it is in you.
And when
I'm grateful.
When you go to Kebeh's website, you see her picture and that smile on her face, you realize there's hope for all of us. We can all get through this and survive, thrive, and turn back and help other people. The book is so well written. The book is UnQuenchable. Now, the author is Kebeh Sando-Acquah. That's Kebeh Sando, S-A-N-D-O. Acquah is A-C-Q-U-A-H. Her website is KebehAquahBooks.com. Books available at Amazon. You Google UnQuenchable, you will get to a place where you can buy a copy of the book. I thank Blue Ink Scribble for making our conversation with Kebeh possible on the program today. And you can link onto all this by going to our website. Kebeh, are you working on another book now? You are touching so many lives with UnQuenchable. Are you working on something else?
Yes, I have a children's book out already called Lovebird Meets Jesus. And I also, this is the first, I'm announcing it publicly.
All right.
I have a new book that is it's completed. It's not yet published. It's brand new. It's called Fiery Faith. And the goal is to have it published by the end of the year. So it's a fresh manuscript. Yes.
Fantastic. We'll be watching for that on your website for both of those books that you're working on, and hopefully we'll have a chance to talk about both of those books as well. Kebeh, it's been a real pleasure having you on the program. Thank you for being with us, sharing your story and how you're touching so many lives. Congratulations on the success of UnQuenchable, and thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you, Rick. I really appreciate you and your team, and God bless you all.
You as well. UnQuenchable, The Burning Bush Within, Kebeh Sando-Acquah, book available wherever books are sold. Link to our website by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. We're back on today's program right after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, Associate Producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, Segment Producer. Ben Watson, Webmaster. Otto Bechet, Director of Engineering and TV Production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, Executive Producer of This Week in America.